Tale of Two Leaders. Good morning, Kuhner country. Okay, my friends, holy shamoly. Let me tell you, as things stand right now, President Trump is now campaigning and running circles around Comrade Kamala. And this was clearly on display yesterday. So, as I pointed out on X yesterday, President Trump showed, again, remarkable, strong, bold leadership. He visited Valdosta, Georgia, got a hero's welcome. Now, as we start to see the massive devastation left in the wake of Hurricane Helene, it is something, as I said yesterday, it's almost biblical. We're looking at something almost like a 1,000-year flood. Entire towns underwater. People missing. Now 130 confirmed dead. Millions without power. Thousands without food and water. Entire large swaths of Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, especially North Carolina, absolutely devastated by this hurricane. And where was Kamala Harris? I kid you not. Where was Comrade Kamala? As people were dying, as children, I'm not kidding, children lost their homes. Some of them orphaned, lost their parents. Millions of people now suffering in this massive, almost unprecedented level of flooding. Thousands hungry, no water, no food. As I said, millions without power, entire towns underwater, isolated, cut off, people desperate for help. Kamala was partying. She was in Hollywood, partying, rubbing elbows with Hollywood celebrities, studio executives. She was raising money. Then she went to San Francisco. She got a couple more fundraisers there. So she's partying with Hollywood celebrities. Donald Trump went to Valdosta, Georgia, and he told them hope is on the way. Help is on the way. He came with supplies, water, food, emergency medical material and supplies. He was there helping people out on the ground. And he told them, you have not been forgotten. And listen to him now. Take it straight to Biden and Harris. Where is Biden? Where is Kamala? Where is FEMA? And then he told everybody, it is so bad that the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, can't even get Biden on the phone. Roll cut one. Mike.
They're not being responsive. The federal government is not being responsive. But they're having a very hard time getting the president on the phone. He won't get on. And, of course, the vice president, she's out someplace campaigning, looking for money. So they have to be focused over here. This is a really bad one. And the governor's doing a good job, but he's having a hard time getting the president on the phone. They're being very non-responsive.
So the microphone wasn't very good there, so maybe you couldn't hear all of it or parts of it, but basically saying, look, Kemp is doing the best that he can, but he can't get the president on the phone. He can't get Biden on the phone. And where's Kamala? Well, she's raising money. She's partying. She's partying with Hollywood celebrities. So listen now to Trump saying North Carolina has gotten the worst of it. Of all the states that have been devastated and hit hard, North Carolina by far, the mountain city and college town of Asheville has been essentially wiped out. It's like it's like Noah's Ark. The town has been completely submerged, 8 feet of water, 8 feet. And when you look at the pictures, it's out of a Hollywood movie. It's something I've never seen. cars, debris. In fact, in some parts of Asheville, there was so much water, so much flooding, so much torrential rain that it dug up the caskets from the local graveyards. So you actually see caskets flowing right down with the water and the debris. It is a post-apocalyptic nightmare. And many people in North Carolina don't just have no electricity. They have no cell phone service, no communications whatsoever. They can't call for help. They can't reach out to family members or friends. They are desperate. Well, listen now to Donald Trump saying, I'm here in Georgia. When the situation gets a little better, because I don't want resources to be distracted or diverted to go to me when they should be now helping everybody on the ground, I will come to North Carolina as well, and we will deliver with communications, with food, with water, with medical supplies. We are standing by, ready to help North Carolina. Roll cut 1A, Mike.
We're also going to be we're talking with North Carolina. We're trying to get them hooked up with communication. They're totally closed right now. North Carolina has really been hit hard. Really, really been hit hard. The hardest. And you can't even get in there right now. And there are a lot of people that have been injured or worse. Very bad. North Carolina. We're working with the people in North Carolina now to get them hooked up for communication.
So, and I'm going to get to this a little bit later. He's going to be working with Elon Musk. He's asked Elon to set up a Starlink communication system to hook it up to help all of these desperate people in North Carolina. Now, I just want you to stand back for a second, all right? And I want you to think about this. Trump is a private citizen. Elon Musk is a private citizen. Yet he is doing more for the besieged and desperate people of Georgia and North Carolina than Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and FEMA combined. Listen now to Trump. This is unbelievable. This should be Biden. Biden should be in Valdosta. Biden should be saying exactly what Trump is saying. Listen now to Trump saying, I'm bringing in volunteers, we're bringing in charities, we're bringing in private organizations, we're flying in supplies, we're doing everything we can. People are desperate. We need to save lives and save them now. Roll cut 1B, Mike.
And in the meantime, we're at Valdosta, and we're with the mayor and congressman and everybody else. We've brought a lot of supplies. We're with Franklin Graham, who's been always fantastic in these cases. Nobody better. He does with Samaritan's Purse. He's done an unbelievable job. So Franklin needs a lot of volunteers, and I know he'll get them. He's done an incredible job in these instances, and this looks like a bad one, really.
So again, he keeps saying this is a really bad one. This is a very bad flood, very bad hurricane. Franklin Graham, the Samaritans First are there. They need help. They need volunteers. In other words, he's saying, look, everybody, we got to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and help each other out because there's a crisis now, a major crisis. Now, as I said, Kamala is partying. By Monday morning, she got the memo. This is an absolute public relations political disaster for her. There she is, pictures everywhere with every Hollywood celebrity, Jessica Alba, Jeffrey Katzenberg, the big studio executive. There she is partying with, by the way, she raised $28 million in Hollywood and LA alone, just in one fundraiser. So she's raising over $100 million. Hobnobbing with celebrities, hobnobbing with some of the wealthiest, elitist people in the country, while ordinary average Americans are dying and begging for help and assistance. So what did Kamala do? She gets the memo. You've got to do something. So she runs to FEMA. She goes to the FEMA headquarters in Washington, D.C., So Trump is on the ground in Georgia, literally meeting the victims and helping distribute aid and telling them more is on the way. She's in Washington. She runs to FEMA headquarters and they give her some cue cards. She was there, by the way, for less than 5 minutes. 5 minutes. They gave her a script. They gave her some cue cards. Roll cut 5. Mike.
President Biden and I will continue to make sure that communities have the support and the resources that they need, not only to respond to this storm and its immediate aftermath, but also the resources they will need to recover.
Okay, I'm giving you the gist of it. Okay, it was less than 5 minutes. She finishes. So she's done with her scripted comments. She then leaves, bolts, almost runs out of the room. Press is trying to ask questions. I'm going to play it on the other side. She literally refuses to take a single question, and the press gets kicked out of the room. In other words, to the people of Georgia and North Carolina and Tennessee and Florida and South Carolina, blank you. 620 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, I'm telling you right now, take this to the bank. Kamala Harris has lost Georgia, and she's just kissed away North Carolina. There's no way they can put this genie now back in the bottle. It's everywhere across North Carolina, Georgia, the southeastern part of the United States. People are absolutely revolted and disgusted by her. I mean, this woman is a sociopath. By her cold, callous, elitist, utterly disconnected behavior. And it's not just the partying with Hollywood celebrities, the fundraising, the glitzy fundraisers, the utter indifference compared to, say, Trump, who is in Georgia, was in Georgia yesterday, can't wait to get into North Carolina. Listen to Trump. He's asked by a reporter in Valdosta, Georgia, have you reached out to Biden about federal relief? In other words, giving him advice on how to get FEMA assistance in there quicker and maybe coordinating with all of your private initiative and maybe that of the government? Listen to Trump's. I mean, it's both hilarious and sad at the same time. Roll cut 2, Mike.
Have you reached out to President Biden about federal relief efforts?
No, I haven't reached out to him. No, I think he's sleeping right now, actually.
Okay, he's probably sleeping right now. Because Biden spent, I'm not kidding, the entire weekend, guess where? At his beach house in Delaware. So who is coordinating FEMA? There's got to be somebody in Washington, D.C. coordinating FEMA. But no, Biden's in Delaware and Kamala was in Hollywood and in San Francisco. All partied out. And Trump is in Valdosta. So that's where he is. Listen now to Trump. And this part is really heartbreaking, saying you have to actually see it to believe it. This is Trump in Valdosta, Georgia, saying the devastation here in Georgia and in North Carolina is something that we haven't seen in 100 years. Roll cut 4, Mike.
Homes, hospitals, highways, and cars have been plunged underwater. Entire neighborhoods have been turned into lakes. Nobody's seen anything like it, and to every family that's been displaced here in Georgia and North Carolina, which has really been hit. We were going there also, and they don't have communication. They don't have anything right now.
So they don't look. Their homes are underwater, neighborhoods are underwater, bridges have been washed away, roads have been washed away. North Carolina, especially, you have entire towns and communities completely isolated and cut off. Dead bodies are flowing down the river. In Asheville alone, over 30 dead and counting. 600 people unaccounted for. It is devastation, as I said, of biblical, historic proportions. They can't even get anybody on the phone. Their cell phone service is down. Forget electricity. They can't even call for help. So who's going to help? You can forget FEMA, forget the president, forget the vice president. I mean, why are we paying all this money in taxes? That's what I'd like to know, because it's certainly not going to help fellow Americans. It's Trump and Elon. So listen now to Trump saying, not only am I coordinating this massive relief effort, I've got Elon on the phone. And unlike Biden, he picks up the phone. And we're going to set up Starlink and get that into North Carolina so people can start making cell phone calls and you can start rescuing families and children. Roll cut 4A, Mike.
I just spoke to Elon. I'm getting him. We want to get Starlink hooked up because they have no communication whatsoever. And Elon will always come through. We know that. And so we're working on that, getting them hooked up. They asked me whether or not that would be possible. And we're going to try and get the Starlink in there as soon as possible because they have no communication.
I mean, this is incredible. He's not even president, and he's doing infinitely more than the current president, the vice president, and the entire federal bureaucracy combined. Besides partying and raising money and hobnobbing with Hollywood celebrities, as all of this is going on, the death, disaster, and destruction, Kamala Harris, I swear to you, was also doing a podcast. It's called the All Smoke Podcast. And do you know what she was talking about? Trump's talking about Starlink, food, water, medical, emergency assistance. She's talking her favorite chips. Roll cut 12, Mike. All right, we're going to play it. Yeah, we're going to play it on the other side. We got technical difficulties. Her favorite, I'm not kidding. Her favorite chips are Doritos, and it's the original Doritos. She doesn't like the spicy Doritos or the Cool Ranch Doritos. And not only was she talking Doritos, I swear to you, but she was talking about clubbing. How she liked to go night clubbing in her father's Seville. How she and her, in other words, she likes to party, as they say here in Boston. She's a party girl. And she liked to party when she was young, and she likes to party now. Unbelievable. 6:31, almost 6:32 now on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, liberalism's worst nightmare, baby. Okay, I'm telling you, her presidential campaign is going up in smoke. It's being, you know what? It's being flooded by what's happening now in North Carolina and Georgia. And sorry, either you laugh or you cry. But there's no question now. This is her Hurricane Katrina moment. And there's no getting around it. Trump is on the ground. Trump is actually literally rescuing or helping to rescue and save people, get them the much needed assistance they're begging for. FEMA, where's FEMA? I don't know. Biden is sleeping and he's at the beach in Delaware. Kamala was raising money and partying with Hollywood celebrities. She did manage, however, to get on a podcast. It's called All the Smoke Podcast. And as people are dying and towns are being wiped off the face of the earth, and we're talking about almost unprecedented disaster and devastation, this is what she's talking about. As all of this is going on, she's talking Doritos, and she's reminiscing about when she was younger, and she would go out partying in her dad's Cadillac. Roll cut 12, Mike.
One of my guilty pleasures, especially when I'm on the road, are my Doritos.
Oh, what flavor?
Nacho.
Nacho.
Old school, original.
OG,
Come on.
Yeah. OG.
Come on.
Red bag.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
Red bag.
That's exactly. Got to have a napkin nearby.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, nachos, old school. Oh yeah, I'm a party girl. I'm a good time girl. I mean, this is sickening. I'm telling you, this is sick. Really, this is sick. I mean, the whole country is now focused on what's happening with Hurricane Helene and the victims of the flooding and the torrential rains. And she's going on and yucking up about her stupid favorite chips. Are you kidding me? Then, listen to this. She also talks about, yep, she was always a party girl. Like the party. This is her. Again, All the Smoke podcast. Now she goes into a fake black accent, which even the host, you got to see the video of this. The host is like, with this cringe look on his face, like, how phony can you possibly get? This is her talking about her friends and how they used to hit the nightclubs in her dad's Cadillac. Roll cut 14, Mike.
An incredible family and incredible friends. My best friend from kindergarten is still one of my best friends.
That's crazy.
Right? Stacey Johnson.
Yeah, that's dope. I love it.
We used to go to the clubs and her father Seville.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. Again, either you laugh or you cry. I mean, what an idiot. First of all, look, I mean, she's got ice water in her veins. I mean, how cold and callous can you possibly be? Okay, that's one. As all of this is going on, this is, it's bad enough you're raising money. And you were actually, we're partying with Hollywood celebrities. But now you're going on podcasts and you're going on about your Doritos. And by the way, a Seville is a Cadillac. And Sandy made a great point to me off air. She said, hold on, wasn't she raised middle class? And and she, as I've been saying over and over again, she's a child of privilege. She grew up in a wealthy home. I didn't have a Cadillac growing up. Did you have a Cadillac growing up? To me, wealthy people had Cadillacs. Upper middle class people, financially, very, in other words, families with 2 college professors, with 2 PhDs, with 2 very good incomes. They were the ones who lived in Palo Alto or in Westmount up in Montreal, Canada, and drove around in Cadillacs. So whatever happened to her being middle class, but let that go. Let that go. Now, it's a tale of 2 leaders, and it's a tale of 2 leaderships. She is a Hollywood, San Francisco left-wing elitist. You can see it. It's obvious. You can't put this genie back in the bottle. She doesn't give a damn how many children die in North or South Carolina or Georgia, how many homes are wiped out, how many communities are flooded, how many people end up dying. She doesn't give a damn. Because it's all about her. And where's Trump? Trump is on the ground. Trump is raising money, trying to get help. Trump is coordinating relief, rescue, recovery, food, water, medical supplies. Hell, he's on the phone with Elon saying, we got to get Starlink in here. People got to have their cell phone service restored. They've got to get the internet up and going. They need to be able to reach the outside world. They're isolated and they're in danger. Now, in my opinion, I think there's no question, Trump has done more for the people of Georgia and North Carolina as a private citizen than Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and FEMA combined. But that's me. I want to ask you. It is the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Mario's Quality Roofing, Siding, and Windows. Who do you think has done more to help the victims of Hurricane Helene in North Carolina and Georgia? A, Trump, B, Kamala. Who do you think has done more? A, Trump, B, Kamala. You can vote on our webpage, WRKO.com/Kuhner, WRKO.com/Kuhner. KUHN is in National ER. As always, you can vote via X, my handle there. And again, I was very active last night. My handle there, at the Kuhner Report, all one word, KUHN is in National ER. To me, this is the most unforgivable argument of all. Beyond the fact that she does this ridiculous photo op where she runs to FEMA headquarters and reads off of cue cards for 5 minutes. Oh, and by the way, gets a picture taken of her at FEMA surrounded by some of their workers to make it seem, oh, look at her. She's so presidential. There she is. She's in Washington in FEMA. Less than 5 minutes, leaves, and the press is kicked out. So come in, photo op, and out. Party in Hollywood, raise money in San Francisco, do a quick podcast, talk about Doritos, talk about clubbing, then you fly into FEMA, do a photo op, blank you, and you're gone. Okay, that's her leadership. But let me tell you, to me, what is inexcusable and to me unforgivable. Joe Biden, once they dragged his ass out of Delaware because he was gone the whole weekend, okay? He's not partying, he's sleeping on the beach. He's asked, will you provide extra money, extra funds? Because this is one of the worst hurricanes in American history. And as you can see, the devastation is enormous. Will you provide more money? The answer, listen now to Joe Biden. Okay, I'll tell you what the answer is. Blank you. That's the answer. Listen now to Biden outside of Air Force One. Roll cut 5D, Mike.
Yes, it's tragic. As a matter of fact, we're trying to get the exact number. My FEMA advisor is on the ground in Florida right now. There's a distinction between the numbers that FEMA's used and the ones that are used by the locals. So it really is amazing. You saw the photographs. It's stunning.
It's unbelievable. That it really is. Such a wide area.
And we've given them all everything we have. We're on the ground ahead of time, so we're working hard.
Are there any more resources the federal government could be giving them?
No, we have pre-planned a significant amount of it, even though they didn't ask for it yet. Hadn't asked for it yet.
Unbelievable. Any more resources? No. We've given them what we've given them. No. The answer is no. The answer is no? The answer is no? Are you, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mean to swear, but are you effing kidding me? Are you serious? Yet he just authorized, this same buffoon and Kamala just authorized another $8 billion. That's with a B, to Ukraine. You see, there's $8 billion for Ukraine, and there's an endless supply of money for illegals. There's hundreds of billions for illegals. No problem. No problem. But if you happen to live in a red county in North Carolina, or a red state, or a MAGA area in Georgia, blank you, baby. Screw you. You're on your own. This is beyond sick. This is beyond disgusting. Kamala Harris just lost the election. 6:49, almost 6:50 now on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer, cleaning up the liberal bull. All right, I want to ask it again because I think now this is really going to determine the presidential race in states like Georgia and North Carolina, which are crucial for both the Trump and the Harris campaigns. Who do you think has done more to help the victims of Hurricane Helene? Especially, I'm talking now in North Carolina and Georgia. I know Tennessee's been badly affected. Please don't get me wrong. Parts of Virginia, South Carolina, almost 1 million homes out of power. I'm not trying to marginalize it or diminish it in any way. Florida as well. But the two areas that have really been lashed and absolutely devastated have been Georgia and Western North Carolina. it almost looks like a war zone. And so that's where a lot of the focus and attention is. Who has done more to help people in those two ravaged states? A, Trump, B, Harris. I want to hear from you, as always. The Kuhner Country Poll question of the day, sponsored by Mario's Quality Roofing, Siding, and Windows. You can vote on our webpage, wrko.com/Kuhner, Kuhn as in National ER. You can also vote via X, my handle there, at the Kuhner Report, all one word, Kuhn as in National ER. Dave in the great state of Pennsylvania. You're going to kick us off, Dave. Thanks for holding and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. I'd like to start off with a comment, but I don't want you to hang up. Good morning, Jeff. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Well, I really feel bad for the people of North Carolina and Georgia and South Carolina and Tennessee.
Yes,
it's dealing with the hurricane is one thing. But to be betrayed by your own federal government, that's another.
Yeah. Jeff, we need to keep them in our prayers first and foremost. And, Jeff, just a quick little thing for these idiots on Facebook who are saying, oh, Trump's doing it just to get votes. I hate to tell you people, did you forget about East Palestine? That came out of Trump's pocket, not the feds. So, or our tax money. Let me correct myself here, Jeff. Jeff, just a quick throw out. I'm going to be at the Butler rally on Saturday, and I'm going to keep my eyes wide open for somebody with a rangefinder, and if not, they're going to get Jack Reacher into the wall. So,
Dave, so you're going to be going to Trump's return to Butler this weekend?
I am, yep, and I'm going to have pictures for you. I'll send them to you. I'll post them on Facebook. I'll make sure you get the pictures first, Jeff.
Oh, great.
I'll send them on Messenger to you over the weekend.
Oh, that's great.
I'll be on-the-scene reporter, Jeff. I'll be actually a non-liberal reporter. But, no, I'm going to be there with some Facebook friends from Pennsylvania, a couple Marine buddies, and we're going to make sure that President Trump is safe. Not all the Secret Service is bad. I don't want to knock everybody. I'll keep my eyes wide open, Jeff. I'll be eating so many carrots over this week. I'll be like Bugs Bunny. I'll have my eyes wide open, Jeff. But you know what, Jeff? Here's the thing. Tonight's debate, let me tell you something. Tim Walzmann will not even show up, Jeff, because he's going to get his clock cleaned by J.D. Vance. And also, Jeff, about the Primanti's thing that happened up here in North Versailles, Pennsylvania. The word is on the street is that the manager got fired from Primanti Brothers in North Versailles, which is like 2 miles away from.
All right, now, Dave, just very quickly, because obviously you're in that you live in the Pittsburgh area. Just super quick to everybody, if you haven't heard the scandal that's happening there, involving J.D. Vance and the Trump-Vance campaign. So J.D. Vance did a stop at a Primanti's restaurant. It's a huge restaurant chain in the Pittsburgh area. It's a cultural institution. Apparently they make great sandwiches, great drinks, place to go and watch sports and football. Anyway, the Vance people, the Trump people, set up a meet and greet for J.D. Vance at one of the Primanti's restaurants. Well, they were there. Everybody was waiting for J.D. J.D. shows up on time. And the manager, apparently what I hear, Dave, is she had called corporate. And corporate told her, don't let Vance into this restaurant. Under no conditions. Bar him from coming into the restaurant to meet people. If he does, call the police and accuse him of trespassing. When the Trump people found out, they were livid. They canceled all of their orders, their food. And they met him in the parking lot, and JD right there started to shake people's hands. But what really disgusted everybody wasn't just the bias and discrimination against Vance and MAGA and Trump supporters, but Primanti's, I don't know if it was that restaurant or another restaurant, but Primanti's did a campaign staged event for Kamala just over a month ago, where they kicked patrons out, saying, I'm sorry, you got a private event, 4:00. Kamala came with her bought and paid for supporters. They did a big photo op, and everybody was kicked out of the restaurant to make room for Kamala. So they'll open their doors to Kamala and to her campaign, but to J.D. Vance and Trump, the middle finger. And apparently the backlash was massive. And people are saying they're going to boycott Primanis. They've taken a real hit. They're getting excoriated on Facebook and social media. So, Dave, please, now that the audience knows the whole context of this, you're saying what? The manager just got fired?
That's what the word is on the street, Jeff. And I got friends that I used to go to that Primanis and have a beer and watch a Bruins game in hockey or something because, I miss my Bruins. I like the Penguins, though, back here. But, Jeff, here's the thing. JD also went back in and did end up meeting with the supporters, and then he paid the tab for their food and left a generous tip. And then that's when he said that no taxes on tips because previously to that engagement, he was in Monroeville, Pennsylvania at the Civic Center. But, Jeff, just to set the record straight, there were like 5 or 6 different Primanis in the Pittsburgh area. Kamala was cackling up at the Moon Township one, which is like north of Pittsburgh, going towards the Pittsburgh International Airport, just to set the record straight. But still, though, but Jeff, I'm going to be honest. I do still go to Primanis myself, but the one that I attend, the bartender actually wears some Trump swag, and she wears a Trump rubber band on the bracelet, like the rubber band bracelets. But that's the one I attend in what's called Pleasant Hills, Pennsylvania, which is a little bit closer to my front door in West Mifflin, near a place called Kennywood. But no, Jeff, it's not all the Primanis. They're independently owned. They're still under corporate. But not all of them are bad, Jeff. I just want to be honest with you.
So, okay, Dave. So basically, you're not going to boycott Primanis. Because I know people in the Pittsburgh area are saying it's time to boycott Primanis. But you're saying, no, Jeff, that's being unfair. I hear you. Dave, as always, thank you so much. And please be safe in Butler. Mike in Boston. Thanks for holding, Mike, and welcome.
Hello, Jeff.
Hi, Mike.
Too bad that this hurricane didn't hit Gaza or the Ukraine, because our federal dollars and our federal resources would be there before the sun went down.
That's an excellent point. It's true. You're completely right. If there was a natural disaster in Ukraine or Gaza, our money, aid, and assistance would be there so fast, Mike, your head would be spinning. So, Mike, let me ask you this, point blank. Do you think a lot of this is political? South Carolina, red state. Tennessee, red state. Florida, red state. Those areas in North Carolina, not all, but many of them, those are more red areas, red counties. They're Trump areas. Georgia, red areas. Do you think a lot of this is, you know what? That's where the deplorables live. Who cares? Screw them. Why should we bend over backwards to help them out? Do you think a lot of this is political?
I'm not sure if it's political or if they are just simply that incapable of doing their job. I just think it's just plain stupidity. I don't have enough faith in Biden or Harris that they would be smart enough to figure out that this is a red part of the country.
Interesting. Mike, thank you very much for that call. Let me be brutally honest with all of you. All right? Like I'm in the confessional. I think it's clearly political. I mean, I hear where Mike is coming from. They are incompetent. They are inept. There's no question. Okay, Mike is right on that. But no, I think, look, they're thinking the election. This is how cynical and depraved and I think evil these people are. And they're saying, hey, Western North Carolina, that's Trump country. Valdosta and that whole area in Georgia that's been really badly hit. I'm telling you, that's Trump country. I know for a fact that's Trump country. And so why we want to rebuild the roads? Why? We want to rebuild the bridges? Why? We want to get these towns out of water? Why? Not until before the election. Why would we do that? So let's keep those places underwater. Let's not go too fast with the rebuilding because we don't want these people to vote in November. We want to suppress the vote in those parts of those two states. That's their cynical, to me, Machiavellian, disgusting way of thinking. I think there's no question. Because you are right, Mike. If this was Gaza, if this was Ukraine, here, forget that. If this was if this was the Vineyard, if this was Nantucket, if this was if this was an area full of illegal aliens, oh man, there'd be so much money and so much aid and so much FEMA personnel pouring in, you would look at this and say, my God, our government can move mountains. So, no, I think it's deliberate. I think there's no question. They don't want people in those areas to vote, and they're trying to suppress the vote. They believe these floods can politically tilt those two states in their column. What they've completely underestimated and misjudged badly is the backlash in both Georgia and North Carolina at the sheer incompetence and ineffectiveness and really the callousness, the indifference of Kamala, Biden, and FEMA. And the word has gotten out all over North Carolina and Georgia. That's how stupid Kamala is. She can run to FEMA and do all these photo ops that she wants. They're saying, what? She was partying in Hollywood with celebrities? She was raising tens of millions of dollars at 5-star hotels in San Francisco? What? She was cutting a podcast, going on about her Doritos and how she was nightclubbing in her dad's Cadillac? And we're literally dying here? North Carolina and Georgia are going to go for Trump. And Pennsylvania, I believe now, is in the Trump column. He's got Arizona and he's got Nevada. This election is over. 617-266-6868. Obviously, nothing is over until we vote. But what I mean is, politically now, for Kamala, the glass has now shattered. Andrea, whoa. Mike, is this a practical joke? From the ancestral homeland of Croatia. Holy shamo. First call ever from Croatia. Andrea, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Listen, do you live in Croatia or are you visiting the old homeland?
No. I'm visiting Croatia, and I'm calling. I'm from Boston, and I spent some time in Bosnia. I'm in Croatia now, and I've been talking to a lot of locals about the upcoming election, and every single one of them I've spoken to is fearful of communism. They have mentioned this time and time again because of everything they've gone through. In fact, I was actually talking to a local Croatian man, and he was saying how he remembers when he, didn't shower for 5 days because, Jeffrey, you know the history. But he was just saying how Americans are too focused on pronouns and, things like that. We are so clueless as to what is coming if Harris were to get in. And it's scary. I'm actually more scared than I have been I've been scared for 4 years, but I'm really petrified November 5th because if she gets in, I have no words. I have no people. And one more thing, sorry, this is the real reason. So anyway, I was mentioning to my I'm going to remain nameless, but a close friend of mine, I was saying, if Harris gets in, communism, yada, yada. The response was, oh, Andrea, it's 2024. It's not 1850. So this is just the mindset of like Ben's from North Andover's and, Chris is from Gloucester's, and I can say other people too. But it's scary. It's scary.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Andrea, if you don't mind me asking, what parts of Croatia, what have you visited so far? What have you seen?
I went to Bosnia. I was actually in Medjugorje, and I went to where they killed the priest in the tomb of what. I'm with my mom right now. She's in the background. So what is it called, Mom? The Tomb of the Martyrs. The Tomb of the Martyrs.
Yeah, the Tomb of the Martyrs. Now, Andrea, where are you guys now in Croatia? Were you in Dubrovnik?
Dubrovnik, yeah. Yep.
What do you think? I don't want to turn this into a tourism show, but what do you think of Dubrovnik? They say it's one of the 10 most beautiful cities in the world. I'm just going by the United Nations.
It's unbelievable. It really is absolutely breathtaking. It's breathtaking. There are no words. It's beautiful.
How's the food? They say the food and the wine is phenomenal.
The food's good. The food's good. We found a couple of nice restaurants. The hotel itself is beautiful. So we actually just got to Croatia a few days ago. So we only have a few. The trip was mostly Bosnia, but it was just crazy how many people. And I mean, every single local I asked, and I'm very political. I'll ask anyone, hey, what do you think is going to happen on November 5th? And every single one of them was America. Everyone needs to pray for America, because if this goes the other way, communism is coming. And every single person, not one person the other way. Not one.
That's my family in Croatia. They're telling me they keep telling me over, like, what's the matter with you Americans? They're like, have you all lost your minds down there? Andrea, before I let you go, do you find people friendly? How do they treat you as an American? I'm just curious.
I think they're friendly. I mean, for the most part, yeah. I haven't had any issues. My mom's my mom smiles at everyone, so I don't think anyone could be non-friendly to my mom. So, no, they're pretty friendly for the most part. Why, do you find them friendly, or? Well, maybe because I speak the language, so maybe they're friendlier to me, but I know they generally like Americans, so I was just asking you, as an American, how do you feel treated? I feel pretty good. I feel good. But one of the ones the local I was telling you about, he was saying Americans, I hate to say this, but Americans are overall as a whole really dumb politically. Like the ones, not us, but the other side, like the Chris's and Gloucesters and the Ben. Like everyone's just shocked at like how. Yeah, that we would be flirting with communism, right? That we would actually be flirting with voting. They just can't believe it. Like, in other words, their attitude is, hey, it was forced on us, with the barrel of a gun. You're going to vote it in? They're shocked, correct? They're absolutely shocked. And they just keep saying, America, we're going to be praying for America. I mean, it's very obvious. So, Andrea, you've made my day. Enjoy your trip. Enjoy your vacation. And please have a safe trip home. God bless you, Andrea, and give my best to your mom. 617. This is history in the making. A call from the ancestral homeland. Incredible. But you see, I'm just trying to tell you. You see what Central Eastern Europeans are saying? Like, that's a taste. They're like, are you Americans nuts? You're going to vote for this? 617-266-6868 is the number. Mel in New York. Thanks for holding, Mel, and welcome.
Yeah. Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Mel.
My call.
My pleasure, Mel.
Yes. Sorry for the background noise. I'm walking another one out here.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can hear the horses in the background. I assume you're walking the horses, right. Mel.
Yeah, exactly, yes. But, Jeff, I'm sick and tired of this illegitimate Democrat regime. This guy, between Harris and Biden, they're both of them together. The abuse that we're taking from this criminal organization. Talk about them. I don't know. I'm just at a loss for words. As far as he goes, all the ill-gotten gains. Actually, I got to take this guy as a foreign agent for China, because what else? You look at his salary that they make, that he makes, per year. How in the world do you afford multiple mansions? With servants in these mansions. He's taking vacations, not on the job. Even if the guy is got the dementia, which I don't believe he has, because the guy's too nasty. He's a nasty type of individual. Nobody with that bit of nastiness cannot be smart. This guy knows exactly what he's doing and what he's doing to us, we the people. I'm getting tired of BS, Jeff. Seriously, getting tired of it. And it's just, I got family that lives in Savannah, Georgia. They got out early enough. They went to Virginia, tell their relatives up there, and it's just, I feel sorry for those who couldn't leave, who couldn't escape. What was coming with this Helene, but these sons of BIs, you know what I want to say. They have no feeling, have no, not even a scintilla of remorse for what they're not, for what they're not doing to help the average American who's stuck in that situation, and just blowing them off, man. Oh, it's frightening. No, Mel, you're dead on. Look, it's frightening. It's chilling. It's very disturbing.
just how much they obviously don't care. And look, even the Washington press corps, to show you how bad it is, Mel, couldn't believe that Biden was at his beach home in Delaware the entire weekend. They just can't believe it. Like they go like, this is a huge catastrophe. Who's running FEMA? Who's directing stuff? Kamala is nowhere to be found. He's nowhere to be found. Mel, it's obvious. They just don't care. They really, really don't care. That's, and so look, Ken wrote this to me on Messenger just a couple of minutes ago. And let me throw this log on the fire. Ken made the point, if she was really worried about winning Georgia and North Carolina, she would have gotten her ass down there like Trump did. So the only conclusion Ken says is they must think the steal is going to guarantee, pulling out Virginia, North Carolina and Georgia. They must think that their voter fraud machine is so good that she can kiss away God knows how many votes in North Carolina and Georgia and still steal it. It's either that or this is the most politically tone deaf and elitist campaign in the history of the United States. I mean, it's either door one or it's door two. I'm telling you, there is so much anger and frustration at Kamala and Biden. I don't see how she can win Georgia or North Carolina after this. 7:20 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Sal in Townsend. Thanks for holding, Sal, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Sal?
Good. Appreciate you taking your call. So I'm a little bit off topic here, but I know you asked a question the other day, a couple of days ago, whether Trump should accept the debate or not. And I agree with him not taking the debate, but I also believe that he should announce that the people should have a choice and a real choice, and listen, give them something to listen to grab onto to actually vote educatedly. So he should actually challenge her to a 90-minute interview, and she's going to have to go to Fox, and he will have to go to CNN, and let the Fox people decide who's going to interview her, and CNN decides who's going to interview Trump. And I hope it's Maria Bartiromo. That would be perfect for me. But I think putting himself back on offense. And find out what she wants to do from there. She says that Trump doesn't want to give a debate. Trump should tell the people to say, hey, I thought about it, and I think the American people deserve to listen to see what we got to say. And truthfully, I would like to go in the opposite. Both of us should be going in the oppositions of the media guru type thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, Sal, look, I think it's a very interesting idea. And by the way, I agree with you on Maria Bartiromo completely. I think she'd be the perfect person to do this kind of a format that you're talking about. But Kamala would never, ever in a million years agree to it, because Maria Bartiromo would roast her. I mean, Bartiromo would tear her apart politically, ideologically, journalistically, limb from limb. So Kamala would never agree to it. But Sal, look, we're going to have the big debate tonight. We'll be talking about it tomorrow on the show. I think it's going to be the final debate of the entire season, the entire campaign. Kamala does not want to do another debate. I think Waltz tonight is going to go down in flames. I think J.D. Vance, you're going to see why Trump picked J.D. tonight. I think he's going to destroy Waltz. And by destroying Waltz, he's going to destroy Kamala. I think it's going to be the most watched vice presidential debate in American history. I think it's the most consequential vice presidential debate in American history. And from everything I've been reading, Waltz apparently is in such an emotional state. He's such a nervous wreck because he knows how good Vance is in debate. And frankly, Waltz is no genius, and he knows that. He knows his intellectual limitations. that they're having a hard time convincing him to go on the stage tonight. Now, he's going to go, but I think it's going to be a knockout. And to be honest, Sal, with the polls now trending Trump's way, you've got this Hurricane Helene, which is becoming Kamala's Hurricane Katrina. It's a disaster politically unfolding for them. I can't tell you how her numbers have plummeted in Georgia and North Carolina. People are, even the areas that are not affected, they cannot believe how cold and indifferent and insulting her response has been. So if you're Donald Trump, and now I don't know if you heard about this, but at midnight, just 7.5 hours ago, the dock workers all along the entire East Coast, from Maine to Texas, 45,000 dock workers, the Longshoremen's Association, as they're called, the union went on an all-out full strike. And it's going to rattle the economy. There's no question now. Already, by the way, businesses are telling people, get ready. Prices are going to start to go up on everything, from bananas to asparagus to underwear to shirts to toys to vehicles to cars, you name it. And that if this strike goes on for more than a week, you're going to start to see shortages, supply chain shortages like we had, 3 years ago in the early part of the Biden regime. So the economy now is going to take a massive blow. And this is all at the feet of Biden and Harris. So if you're Donald Trump, why would you know the expression, if your enemy's in the process of destroying himself, get out of the way. So if you're Donald Trump, Sal, you're like, and I should debate her why? Everything is going against her now. Interviews are blowing up in her face. She now has this disaster with Hurricane Helene. You've now got this big strike from the dock workers. There's going to be, Israel has just launched a ground invasion against Lebanon. Oil prices now are going to start to go up. So the American people are looking at Biden and Harris, and they're saying, we want another 4 years of this. And on the other side of the screen is Donald Trump. He's in Georgia. He's going to go to North Carolina. He's delivering water, food, internet, cell service. And you know what they're saying? We want him back. At this point, Sal, if I'm Trump, do nothing. 7:32 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 617-266-6868. Couple lines are open if you want to jump on to show you how bad things now are for Kamala politically. I'm telling you, this is like quicksand. She can't extricate herself. So she's partying in Hollywood. She's raising money at these glitzy fundraisers in San Francisco. People are dying all across North Carolina and Georgia, South Carolina. The flooding is unimaginable. And they're desperate for help. So I said she went to FEMA. She did her 5-minute little, she did a quick photo op. She read from some cue cards. She kicked everybody out, took a picture with FEMA workers and left. On her way back to Washington, and this story now is everywhere, to show you, frankly, how incompetent, and there's no other word, stupid, Kamala and her campaign are. Okay, listen to this. She has photographers take a shot of her on Air Force Two. And they're trying to claim, this is now Monday morning, so now she's been partying all weekend. Trump has now announced he's going to go to Valdosta, Georgia. So Trump has now pulled off a huge political PR coup. They know that they're getting hammered in Georgia and North Carolina. So they got to do something. So they take a picture of her on Air Force Two sitting at a table, supposedly, this is what they claim, taking notes as she's being briefed by FEMA officials, allegedly on the ground in North Carolina. Except there's a problem. as Trump pointed out on Truth Social, and then now it's gone everywhere. The photo is staged and fake. It's a complete fake. She has earbuds on, but they're not connected to her phone. She's got the phone on her desk. And allegedly, she's acting like, she's listening to FEMA, with the earbuds through the phone. But the problem is you can see the phone. There's no cord. As Trump says, you have to put the cord into the phone to make it work. Forgive me, but she's so stupid. Hello, take the cord and plug it into the phone if you're going to fake that you're on a call with FEMA. You can't make this stuff up. The papers that they're using, blank. They're trying to make it seem like she's got, a pen on a paper. The papers are blank. It's all blank. The whole thing was staged. I mean, it's bad enough you're not there. It's bad enough you don't give a damn. It's bad enough you're fundraising and hobnobbing and partying with celebrities till 2 a.m. But then you pretend that you're being briefed by FEMA and you're so incompetent that you forget to plug your headphones, earbuds, whatever, into the phone. Now, look, to you and to me and others, they go, come on, Jeff, aren't you nitpicking now? Hey, you ask the people in Tennessee and in Georgia and in North Carolina and in South Carolina and in Florida whether this is small potatoes or not. So not only can you not be bothered to give a damn, while Trump is the guy flying in supplies and getting us help. By the way, the question is being asked, and we're paying taxes. Why? We have FEMA. Why? A private man, a citizen, is doing more to help us and coordinate assistance among charities and nonprofit groups, along with Elon, to set up cell phone and internet connections than the entire federal government. But now you're trying to fake and lie to us that you're being briefed when you're not being briefed. And you got to see her face. She's trying to act like so serious. Like, she's really focused. Like she's really, oh my God, she's so attentive. She's absorbing every word, every comma, every letter of this so-called briefing. And the cord isn't even connected to the phone. There's nothing. Sheets of white paper, nothing. She's supposedly taking notes with her pen. Nothing. Like, hello, plug the cord in, okay? And just doodle, do something. Just scribble something down. That's, if you're going to fake it, Kamala, that's how you fake it. Ay. She's going down. Oh, she's going down. Dawn in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Dawn, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Dawn?
I'm well. My friend Manny says hello, by the way.
Okay. Oh, you know Manny Ribeiro?
Of course I do.
Tell Manny a big hello from me. Huge hello.
He's probably listening to you right now. Anyway, I want to talk about what's going on in this country. As you know, I'm a Marine as well. Served my country 4 years, and it's pretty scary what's going on here in this country. And people are so blind to it and so stupid. She's going to destroy us, like you said. There's going to be communism, and it's pretty scary. People need to wake up. We elected these people, and the vice president wasn't even elected. She was selected, not elected. And people just let it go like it was nothing.
Don, look, let me put my cards on the table, okay? As the Germans would say. First of all, in case we get cut off or whatever, I want to thank you for your service. You have no idea how much I love vets like you and Manny Obviously in a non-sexual way, Don. But I really do love you and Manny and everybody who served our country, because I wouldn't be behind this microphone if it wasn't for people like you, and we wouldn't be living in this great country if it wasn't for people like you. But look, I was very happy to take that call from Andrea in Croatia. Why? Because the countries and the peoples that suffered under communism, okay, like my parents and my grandparents who left Croatia for the new world, as Andrea said, you couldn't find one. Literally, you can't find one that says you should vote for Kamala Harris. And it's not even so much that they love Trump. They don't know that. I mean, whatever. They know something about Trump. But what I'm saying is, they're like, how could you vote for Kamala? Like, what is wrong with you? They cannot believe what they are watching. They're stunned. My sister has a hard time sleeping at night. She lives in Tucson, Arizona. And she, talks to our relatives still back in the old country. And she's calling me and she says, Jeff, they're losing their minds over there. They're like, how can you Americans vote for communism? Like, have you forgotten the Cold War? Have you forgotten the Soviet Union? Have you forgotten what communism did to Central Eastern Europe and the former Soviet Union and in China and North Korea and Cuba? Like, how could you possibly vote this in? Have you all gone mad? And look, my sister, like me, was raised on the stories of my father and my grandfather. And my sister's developing an ulcer. A legit, genuine ulcer. She's like, I can't sleep at night. I'm so worried about what's going to happen on November 5th. I don't want to live what our parents and grandparents lived. And Dawn, look, you can ask my wife. I am not sleeping well at night. It's been a couple months now. I'm very worried about the future of this country. And it was on Sunday. We were in church. We walked out of church. And my wife looked at me in the car in front of the kids, and she says, Jeff, you got to trust God. The homily was about let God be God, and you got to have trust in God. And my wonderful wife was saying, listen, you got to listen to the priest. You're internalizing this election. You're taking it so seriously. You got such dark circles under your eyes. I can tell you're not sleeping at night. You're under a lot of stress and pressure. And I said, yeah, and I looked at my two children and I said to her, because it's about them. It's about their futures. And this great country. And I'm not going to allow communism to take over. And she's like, Jeff, it's out of your hands, man. It's in God's hands. You got to let it go. But in all honesty, Dawn, look, as I speak to you now, I have a bad stomach. I swear to you. I have whatever. I need Maalox. I have an ulcer or whatever. I'm like my sister. I can't sleep. I have an acidic stomach. I have dark circles. I am very worried about November 5th. Now, I believe we're going to win, of course. But my God, if they steal it, if she gets installed, this is it. You vote your way into communism. You don't vote your way out. The only way out is to shoot your way out. And I don't want that for this country. And so that's why, really, Dawn, I'm not asking all of you. I'm begging you. For God's sake, don't vote for communism. Don't vote for Kamala. Vote Trump. 7:49 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, I want to read a message I got on Messenger from Marianne. And I want to know if you in Kuhner country, all of you listening now, agree to this. Because she says people are going to think I'm crazy. I don't think she is. She sums up my feelings exactly, and I'm just curious if you agree with her. So here's what Marianne wrote me. Good morning, Jeff. I'm sure some people would call me crazy for what I'm about to say. I can't help but believe that God's hand is in all of this. Everything is going to hell in a handbasket. So why do I believe this? because God is trying to wake people up. All of these things happening will destroy the chances of Kamala Harris next month. And these disasters that are happening, I have no other word for them, are what will propel Trump back into office. I just also pray that they haven't already manufactured enough votes to steal the election. I agree with her 1,000%, as I wrote back to her when we were off air. I'm sorry, I can't read the evidence any other way. I look at Hurricane Helene and the devastation, and I feel so sorry for the people affected and impacted by this. You have no idea. It is driving Kamala's poll numbers into the floor. It's killing the Biden regime right now. And Harris's campaign in particular. You've now got this big strike from the dock workers. It is going to cripple the economy. You've got now this ground war that's been launched by Israel into Lebanon to finally clean out Hezbollah once and for all. I mean, all of this is taking place. I don't think it's a coincidence. Part of it is obviously completely inept leadership. They have let the Middle East blow up. They have not gotten involved with the Longshoremen's Association and this contract dispute. So much of it is on their hands. They've neglected the people of North Carolina and Georgia in particular. So much of this is self-inflicted. No question. Okay. No question about it. But overall, I look at this and I'm like, it's almost like a perfect storm against them. Now, let me just say one other very quick thing, because you need to know this and hear about this. So, we talked about communism and Comrade Kamala and how people in Central Eastern Europe cannot believe. We had that call from Andrea in Croatia, my parents' ancestral homeland, saying to a man and woman, they're all shaking their heads like, how could you possibly vote for Kamala? Have all of you lost your minds? James Comer has now unearthed an absolute bombshell on Tiananmen Tim. As you know, tonight is the big vice presidential debate on CBS News. I'll be watching it. You don't have to watch it. I'll watch it for you. But on the eve now of this debate, it has now come out. Listen to this. The House Oversight Committee has now found compelling evidence through multiple whistleblowers. We have whistleblowers who have now come out and said the Department of Homeland Security has both classified and unclassified documents, information, and texts and emails that confirm Tim Walz is an agent of Beijing. This should be one of the biggest stories in the country. And the media is desperately trying to suppress it. So according now to these whistleblowers, DHS, I assume the FBI as well, now know, or they have very powerful documents and information showing that for many years now, Tim Tiananmen Walz is essentially now acting as an agent of China. That he has deep financial ties to China, that they have paid for all kinds of events, all kinds of trips. He has visited China over 30 times. 30 times. He has taught in China at an institute that is very pro-Chinese Communist Party. He has openly glorified and defended Mao Zedong, one of the worst mass murderers in the history of the 20th century. And they're saying that there are clear ties between the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, and Tim Walz that go back decades. Now, how is this not on the front page of every newspaper in the country? The reason why the Chinese communists are backing the Harris-Walz ticket is they want one of their own in the White House. just like they had one of their own in Joe Biden and Hunter Biden in the White House. So when you hear liberals saying, oh, come on, Kamala Harris is not a communist, they chortle. Yeah, well, look at her policies, number one. Number two, just look at Tiananmen Tim. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. And our deep state knows this and is not doing anything, but instead is covering it up. The Chinese Communist Party has infiltrated Tim Walz, the Harris-Walz campaign, and I believe now, without question, the upper echelons of the entire Biden regime, including, of course, the Department of Homeland Security. Why else would they be trying to bury this? Comer and his committee now have subpoenaed these documents. They want them, I don't care, classified, unclassified. They want them released, and they want to expose Tim Walz. This man should be nowhere near the vice presidency. Now, I hope that tonight, among many other things, J.D. Vance not only brings this up, but that he goes after Walz and exposes him for the traitor that he is. 617-266-6868. Lines are loaded. Tony in the Freedom State, Florida. Thanks for holding, Tony, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff, my fellow Patriot.
Hi, Tony.
Great to join you. Hi. I hope you're doing well. Jeff, I'll tell you something, this debate tonight, I'm looking forward to seeing J.D. Vance ask Tim Walz point blank. So why did you open your windows so you could smell the tires burning and the fires when you were burning down Minneapolis in 2020? And see what he has to say. That'll be a jaw dropper, right? But I'll tell you something, Jeff. Right now as we speak, I really do believe the hand of God is on this country right now, and he's guiding us. And this is actually the biggest moment of our country since July 4th, 1776. I might even go further and say it's bigger than that. I mean, the founding fathers warned us of a moment like this, and they set us up perfectly. But we're going to get them with the ballots, not the bullets this time. And I'll tell you, Jeff, and it's no coincidence that, we have the hurricanes and all that. And, they don't want to help the people down here. They figure it's a red state. We'll let them flounder. They could care less. This awful regime, that's in office right now. The thing too is that, you see President Trump, he is just presidential. He's a real leader. He's, and all these, these moonbats want to say, oh, he just wants a photo op. But no, he's genuine. He genuinely cares and loves this country, loves the American people. And we're going to show him on November 5th, Jeff. I think it's going to be an overwhelming victory.
Tony, from your lips to God's ears. Look, the only concern I now have is whether the Democrats can manufacture or steal enough votes. That's it. Because otherwise, Trump is winning in a landslide. There's no question now. No question. Tony, thank you very, very much for that call. No, look, let me address that issue, because I'm getting this a lot on the text line from these moonbats, who, by the way, don't have the guts and the courage to call into the show, because they know I'll roast them. So they don't want to call in because they know I'll intellectually eviscerate them. But well, Trump just did it for the votes. Trump just did it because he wants to win Georgia. Trump just did it because it's a great photo op. All right, let me just, for the sake of argument, okay, even if it's true. And your point being, no, really, seriously, and your point, why isn't Kamala there? Why isn't Joe Biden there? And my point is this, fine, maybe he's doing it for the votes. Okay, let me just concede that. And is he bringing a ton of water? Yes. Is he bringing a ton of food? Yes. Is he bringing in a ton of emergency and medical supplies they desperately need? Yes. Was he coordinating with Franklin Graham and the Last Samaritans and other nonprofits who are doing a lot more to help those poor people than FEMA and the federal government is? Yes. So, I always say this. When someone throws you a lifeline and you're drowning, and in this case, I hate to say it, they're literally drowning. I don't care what the motive is. I want that lifeline. And I'm thankful you're giving me the lifeline. So if Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are either so lazy or so incompetent or so stupid or so, to me, I think the real reason is so cold and callous because they're a bunch of sociopaths that you can't realize, hey, my political self-interest is to go down there. Fellow Americans are suffering, and they're suffering, in key battleground states. Maybe I should move my ass down there and make sure that they're getting all the aid and the recovery and the rescue operations that they need. Because people are dying and their communities are being wiped out. Now, I can't stand Bill Clinton. Please don't get me wrong, okay? I can't stand Bubba and what he did in the White House. But if President Clinton, if Bill Clinton was in office now, you don't think he'd have his ass in North Carolina or Georgia? Of course he would. Dick Morris would be telling him, get your ass down there, man. What are you talking about? So what I'm saying is, I don't care if it's political or not political. He's there. They're not. That's all that matters. You're the president of the United States. Where are you, Joey? Where are you? Kamala, you're the vice president. You're the co-president. He's delegated everything to you, according to him. You want to be the next president. Where are you? I'll tell you where you were. You were partying in Hollywood and San Francisco. And then you caught doing a fake photo on Air Force Two to pretend that you care. So if you gave a damn, you would get your ass on Air Force Two and you would have beaten Trump to the punch in Valdosta, Georgia. And you would have been working those phones with the governors and the mayors and FEMA and saying, whatever Trump is bringing, I'm bringing 3 times more. I mean, I'm sorry. Hello? This is politics 101, man. I'm not talking decency now. I'm not talking about actually caring. But if you want to win the election, be competent. Put one foot in front of the other. So even they go, well, he's doing it for a photo op. Oh, he's doing it for votes. I hope he gets all the votes in Georgia now for this. Why shouldn't he? And by the way, he did the exact same thing in East Palestine, Ohio. Massive train, it's almost identical, except one is a flood and hurricane. Another one is a train chemical derailment. But think of this, other than that, the parallels are eerie. Here you have a disaster in the heartland in Ohio. It's MAGA country. It's a red area. Okay. The state is not just red, that area in particular, overwhelmingly pro-Trump. A toxic chemical spill. FEMA did not show up for days in East Palestine. Joe Biden couldn't be bothered. One of the greatest disasters, chemical toxic spills in American history. Okay, there's chemicals in the water. You can breathe it. People's skin there's rashes all over people's skin. Who went? Trump. Who showed up? Trump. Who brought water, food, medical supplies, emergency supplies? Trump. Who met with the mayor? Trump. Who brought in all these nonprofits and other organizations to help with the cleanup, to help the citizens? Trump. I'm sorry. One is a leader, the other isn't. How many times does this have to happen? Now, did he pick up a lot of votes in Ohio? Yeah, you better believe it. He should have. Is he going to pick up a ton of votes now in North Carolina and Georgia? Yes, and he should. I mean, I'm sorry. If somebody shows up and shows you leadership and helps you in your hour of need, and the other one doesn't, and actually doesn't even give a damn, Let them eat cake. This is the modern version of Marie Antoinette. Let them eat cake. Let them die. That's essentially what she's saying. Let them die. Well, I'm sorry. If I'm living in North Carolina or Georgia or anywhere near that affected area, I'm pulling that lever for Trump all day, all night, baby. I mean, what? Why? I mean, seriously, why shouldn't they? Now, it's not like she's got other things to do. So, if you got time to party with Hollywood celebrities and bigwigs, I'm sorry, you got time to get your ass on that plane, make some calls, and help people out in those stricken areas. So, she's kissing this election goodbye. State by state by state. Agree, disagree. Ray in Barrie. Thanks for holding, Ray, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff.
Hi,
Thanks
Ray.
for taking my call, and
My pleasure.
God bless you for all you do.
Thank you, Ray.
So I wanted to just mention, you know how the Democrats don't let a bad crisis go to waste. Are they going to be able to set up election polls stations around these devastated areas?
Well, I think that's I think that's the Democrat plan. I mean, let me be blunt about it. I think they're very slow in the rescue recovery operations because these are, especially I'm talking Georgia and North Carolina, okay? Those are not all. Asheville is a college town, so there's a lot of liberals who vote in that actual city. But outside of Asheville, the county itself is a red county. Western North Carolina, it's MAGA. Those parts of Georgia affected, for the most part. A few pockets are blue, but most are red. I don't think they want the roads rebuilt. I'm being serious. I don't think they want the bridges to be restored. I don't think they want people. Why? Because they don't want them to vote before November 5th. That's why they're really slow walking the assistance. And I don't just mean FEMA. I look at Roy Cooper, the governor of North Carolina. He is really getting hammered. Ray, the guy's done nothing. I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, he's useless as, you know what they say, breasts on a bull. It's a more vulgar expression, but I'm going to clean it up. The guy's as useless as breasts on a bull. I've never seen something like this. His people are dying. His people are suffering. And you can't get Biden on the phone. You can't get Roy Cooper on the phone. So poor people in North Carolina are getting screwed doubly. They're getting screwed by their Democrat governor and they're getting screwed by the regime. And I think part of it is right. They don't want them to be able to vote. Now, they are going to be able to vote. They're going to move heaven and earth to vote. I'm telling you this right now. But what they've underestimated is the backlash in the unaffected areas in Georgia and North Carolina. Because the Democrats now, the local Democrats are in full panic. That's why she's got to do these staged photo ops. They're calling, literally, they're on the phone saying, have you all lost your mind over there in Washington? So she's in Hollywood partying with Jessica Alba and Jeffrey Katzenberg. And people are dying. And our people are seeing photos of her with a $60,000 necklace around her neck and a $10,000 dress. And they're eating lobster and shrimp and drinking champagne while we're dying. And by the way, Trump has already just arrived. And he's got nothing but planes are flying in, helicopters are flying in, equipment is flying in, assistance is coming in. Guys, we're going to lose the whole damn state. So, Ray, there's no question. They've turned their back because they look at them and they say, scum, deplorables, neo-Nazis, white supremacists. They're not voting for us. Who needs them? And that's what's turning people off. And I'm telling you, it's not just in Georgia and North Carolina. Her poll numbers now are in free fall. Okay? I'm telling you, she's not going to recover from this. The way George W. Bush never recovered from Hurricane Katrina politically, she's never going to recover from this. So yeah, they may suppress a few votes here and there, but they've lost a lot more than they've suppressed. Final word to you, Ray.
I had that interview with the 2,000 Mules, Duchesne, I forget his name. He had the new movie out, and in that movie, he was going to tell how they were going to steal it with the ballots. Did you see that movie, and do you have an idea of what they're going to manipulate with the ballots?
Well, yeah, I saw 2,000 Mules. I think it's an incredible movie. And I also saw Vindicating Trump over the weekend. In fact, I saw it on Friday when it first came out at Patriot Place. And I thought it was a superb movie. In Vindicating Trump, there is a couple segments there that to me were very alarming. And Dinesh D'Souza proves beyond a shadow of a doubt how easy it is to photocopy, I'm not kidding, photocopy 10,000 ballots. It costs you like $35 and you can replicate it and there's no way they can track it. So that's my fear, is that as Dinesh D'Souza shows, they can manufacture countless ballots at will. We stop them from doing that, this election is over. 8:20 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 617-266-6868 is the number. Tom in Ohio. Tom, thanks for holding and welcome.
Morning, Jeff.
Hi, Tom.
I think that this, like the last month, Biden's interview on The View saying that he's looped Kamala into everything. He's delegated to her. She's, very aware of what's going on. And then this whole disaster in the Carolinas and Georgia, I think this is his way of getting back at her. He stayed at the beach for a reason. That's because Giuseppe Giancarlo's daughter told him, hang her out to dry. Let her flap in the wind. Biden is also in this longshoreman strike, Jeff. Biden had said repeatedly, you could probably pay the clips, I'm the most pro-union president of anybody. I should be on Mount Rushmore. And so what does he do? He lets this thing languish, and now we're into a strike, which is going to cost estimates now, Goldman Sachs, $5 to $7 billion a day. A day. I think this is his get back better at Kamala, and he's letting her flap in the wing.
Well, I think, look, there's a real part of him, Tom, you make a very interesting point. There's a part of Biden that would love to turn around, he and Jill, and say, you pushed me out for her?
Bingo.
Okay, you want her, you're going to get her. And, and you're right. Now they're just letting her twist in the wind. This longshoreman strike, if this goes on for more than a week, Tom, we are going to feel it across the entire economy. You're right. It's $5.5 to $7 billion a day. You're completely right. But you're going to be looking at shortages, bananas, fruits, vegetables, underwear. You name it. It's going to really affect the supply chain. And prices are already starting to go up because they have to start flying in produce instead of shipping it in. And so businesses and Kroger's and Trader Joe's, and they're all saying, well, we got to pay more to fly in these fruits and vegetables because of the dock workers strike. And either we eat it, which means we're going to lose money, profits, or we have to pass on the cost to consumers. So they're saying, look, you're going to be paying more for fruits and vegetables at the grocery store. And you're not going to have much of it. You're going to have less on the shelves, and you're going to be paying more for it. All in time for the election, Tom. If he's trying to screw her, he's doing a damn good job doing it. Final word to you, Tom.
Well, you're right, Jeff. And the grocery stores have to be mindful of, quote, price gouging, during these uncertain times. One last thing I'm going to leave you with, Jeff, and I don't know if you saw it. but you ought to go listen to the president of the Longshoremen Association. The hubris that this guy has, he is like the Grim Reaper. He lays this thing out, Jeff. It's like Armageddon. You ought to go listen to it.
Oh, no, I saw it. No, I heard it. No, Tom, you're right. Where he's saying we are going to cripple this country. We're going to bring this economy to its knees. They're going to be begging us to give us a 77% wage increase over 6 years. I mean, I will destroy Biden and the economy. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, Kamala, you better get on the phone, man, because these guys are deadly serious. Tom, what say you?
I agree, Jeff. I mean, they're going to think about the railroad strike. When the railroads were going to strike, Joey jumped right in, pro-union. But this, he's just saying, I'm going to let it just, it's going to lay at her doorstep. And she's not going to know what to do.
Well, his policy now is I'm not getting involved, Tom. He's saying I'm not getting involved. That's all he keeps saying. I'm not getting involved. Well, the longer this drags out, it's bad for all of us. We're going to suffer. But, man, it's going to kill her politically. Tom, thank you very, very much for that call. Is it Yan or Jan? Jan? Jan in Groton. Thanks for holding, Jan, and welcome.
Morning, Jeff. Thank you for taking my call.
My pleasure, Jan.
Things. They're pushing, the Republicans are having somewhat of a push to get people to vote early. I'm struggling with that. My husband and I are planning to vote on Election Day because we just don't know what they do with our ballots. When you vote early, it gives them more time to play with everything. Also, how do we stop them from copying ballots? And I think they're going to count until they win, as they usually do.
Well, if they steal it this time, in other words, if they just keep counting and counting and counting until they get the result that they want, the country's not going to accept it. Not what's been unfolding over the last couple of months and what's unfolding now. No one is going to believe she wins Georgia. No one. Or North Carolina. Or Michigan. Or Arizona. Or Nevada. So the problem now is it's becoming harder and harder for them to make the steal plausible. And that's why they're in a panic, Jan. 8:32 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Tom in the great state of Wisconsin, the Badger State. Thanks for holding, Tom, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. I pay very close attention to what Trump says about the open border and the economy. He claims that those running the country are short of brains, are stupid, and lacking, mental ability. But he calls them communists. But what he never says, and he must do this on purpose because a test group didn't respond well to it. He doesn't say that the destruction of the economy and the open border is being done calculatedly on purpose by those that believe in communism and that our country doesn't deserve any of the wealth that it has and that it's ill-gotten because we had slavery in the past. He never says that. And as far as God coming to rescue us, God did rescue Trump. I'm not so sure he's doing anything else, though. I want to talk about North Korea. North Korea was called the Vatican of the East prior to World War II, and that was the fertile soil for the Russians to come in, and they took influence the Kim family. Kim Il Sung was the founder of communism there, and they took that country over. God didn't save them from that, and step one in saving this country is getting Trump elected. I think that's going to happen. I don't know about Pennsylvania and Nevada. I think they're going to stuff the ballots in those two states. But Trump winning would be step one. Step two then is going to be even bigger, and that is going to be Trump getting those behind him to have national rules about voting and also exporting all of the imported illegal alien Democrat voters that are going to destroy the country. So Trump just winning is only one step of the two essential steps. And I believe the Supreme Court of the United States and Justice Roberts and Barrett are both Democrats. They're going to stop the deportation, and they're going to say no to federal laws citing states' authority to have voting rules, which empowers Democrat cheating machines. But for both of those things, should Trump get in, he is going to have to say the Supreme Court has no business ruling on these two issues.
Well, Tom, you've put a lot on that plate, a lot to chew on. Look, fundamentally, I agree with you. I think we're going to have to save ourselves. You're right. God saved Trump from that assassin's bullet, but it's going to be up to us to save our country. I think there's no question, but I can't help but think there's the hand of God. I mean, I can't. I look at what's happening in Lebanon. I look at what's happening in North Carolina and Georgia with Hurricane Helene. I look at this strike. I mean, you look at the strike. You look at it's this constellation of forces that are. I mean, it's propelling him into the White House, and so now he's helping himself. He's in Georgia. He's helping people out. He's filling the vacuum left behind by Biden and Kamala and FEMA. And so there's no question. But we're going to, look, no one's coming to our rescue. We're going to have to save ourselves. And step one, you're right, is winning in November. And then step two, he's going to have to pass a law that gets rid of universal mail-in balloting, that entrenches voter ID, and that we return now to elections with integrity. We have to end this voter fraud. There's no question. We have to end the ballot harvesting, the ballot trafficking. All of this has to end. If we don't do that, then they will steal elections going into the future. There's no question. So he's going to have a lot to do. His first 100 days are going to be the most important 100 days of any president in American history. And he's going to have to do multiple things simultaneously. He's going to have to secure the border. He's going to have to start a massive deportation of criminal illegals. He's going to have to shake up the entire Justice Department, the FBI, the CIA, the deep state. I mean, he's got so much on his plate. And apparently, I'm just going by what his team is saying. According to Elon Musk, according to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., according to Tulsi Gabbard, who are in the know, they say that Trump is already working on a transition team behind closed doors. That their internal polling shows it's now too big to steal. That they are supremely confident. Now, again, not overconfident, but they're very confident that everything now is going their way and everything is breaking against Kamala. And the final nail in her coffin should be tonight's debate. Waltz apparently now has leaked that he's going to be attacking Trump from the get-go. He's going to make the entire debate about Trump, demonizing Trump, attacking Trump, vilifying Trump, scaring people into not voting for Trump. J.D. Vance is going to have to really respond and make this election about a clear, stark choice. Do you want freedom or do you want communism? That's what this election is fundamentally about. If J.D. Vance does that tonight, Tom, look, Harris and Biden are in big trouble. They're going to be in big, big trouble. So, again, the next 30 days, 30 plus days, I believe will decide the destiny of the United States. And that's why I'm going to do everything I can to get Trump over the finish line. We have no choice. It's Trump or bust. Tom, thank you very much for that call. Agree, disagree, 617-266-6868 is the number. So look, he's already working on a transition team. Usually you work on a transition team in November after you win. But Trump is saying the problems are so big and they're going to have to move so quickly, so fast on so many fronts that he's got to have a team in place, ready to go with a full action plan on day one. Day one. That means he's sworn in January 20th, and they're off to the races. Jeff in Kentucky. Thanks for holding, Jeff, and welcome.
Oops.
Jeff? Hey Jeff,
on?
Go ahead.
Yeah, hey, real quick, we keep talking about Kamala and her not going anywhere, not doing that, and she's going out with all these people that are rich and everything. She's doing that because she knows she's not going to win. She's going to be a nobody. Therefore, she needs to line her pockets as much as she can. She's gone. My thoughts.
That's interesting. Jeff, I didn't look at it that way. I was thinking she's just, arrogant. She's an elitist. She's a sociopath. He's right. There is something mentally wrong with this woman. To me, there's no doubt. There's something serious. She's not right in the head. You can see that. She's utterly indifferent to suffering, especially, human suffering, American suffering. So there's clearly something seriously wrong with her. So to me, I look at it as almost like a Caligula complex. This woman is a narcissist. She loves the Hollywood elites. She's always loved them. She likes to hang out with them, hobnob with them, party with them, raise money with them, speak in front of them. So I looked at it very much as this woman just doesn't give a damn. But I didn't look at it, and that she may think that we have this thing sewn up with the steal, that their voter fraud is so good that they'll put her over the top the way they put Biden over the top in 2020. I didn't look at it this way, that she kind of can read, because her internal polls are horrible as well. They're looking at the same polls as Trump. And maybe she's thinking, you know what? I need to look out for me and number one. And I got to make some cash now, and I got to make a lot of connections now, because Trump is marching back to the White House. Jeff, I'm just curious. In Kentucky, what's the lay of the land in Kentucky? Are you confident that Trump's going to take Kentucky on November 5th?
Yes, I'm very confident that he's going to take Kentucky. There are some more Democrats that are becoming more prominent, but I'm still confident that Kentucky's going to be taken by Trump. Everywhere you go, Trump, 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 Trump.
Good.
That's in the city and in the country.
Good. Because Andy Beshear, that moonbat Democrat governor of yours in Kentucky, he's promising Kamala he will deliver Kentucky for Kamala. But you're saying that's a pipe dream, correct?
A big pipe dream. Definitely.
Jeff, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, couple lines are open if you want to jump on. So let me ask you, do you believe is Hurricane Helene now becoming Kamala's Hurricane Katrina? Is this now becoming a political nightmare that is now costing her tremendously in popularity and is propelling Trump into the White House? I'm just curious. And Donald Trump, he shows up in Georgia, Kamala and Biden don't. Your reaction, your calls. Next, 8:50 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, just very, very quickly. This, I believe, is what's now going to determine the election in Georgia and North Carolina. They are pivotal battleground states. Trump is already beginning to run away with it in Arizona. He's got a clear, decisive edge in Nevada. Pennsylvania, which is the must-win state. If Kamala does not win Pennsylvania, it is over for her. Trump also has now a small but clear, decisive lead. So she's now in the process of losing Georgia and North Carolina. And I believe this is what's now going to bring her down. Listen to Joe Biden. They dragged him out of his beach house in Delaware. And he was asked, this is a catastrophic hurricane. It is causing damage that we have not seen, devastation, destruction, death in 100 years minimum. It is something that no one expected to be this large, this impactful, this deadly. FEMA has set aside certain amount of money, but they need more. Listen to Biden's response. No more money for you. Listen to Joe Biden. Roll cut 5D. This is him outside Air Force One. And he's saying there will not be more resources coming. What you're getting is what you're getting. That's it. Roll cut 5D. Mike.
Yes, it's tragic. Matter of fact, we're trying to get the exact number. My FEMA advisor is on the ground in Florida right now. There's a distinction between the numbers that FEMA's used and the ones that are used by the locals. So it really is amazing. You saw the photographs. It's stunning.
It's unbelievable. It really is. Such a wide area.
And we've given them all everything we have. We're on the ground ahead of time, so we're working hard.
Are there any more resources the federal government could be giving them?
No, we've given them. We have pre-planned a significant amount of it, even though they didn't ask for it yet. Hadn't asked for it yet.
All right, so no. Okay, the answer is no. Now, translation, as I said on X last night, to the victims of Hurricane Helene, screw you. Or as I like to say, blank you. You're on your own. Yet, there's no more money for the victims of Helene. But there's Joey, same time over the weekend. He's not in Washington. He's not coordinating FEMA. No. But he's got $8 billion that he just authorized to give to his buddy Zelensky in Ukraine. There's $8 billion for Ukraine. But there's not $8 billion more for the poor people of North Carolina and Georgia. Now, who rode to the rescue? Donald J. Trump. Listen to him yesterday in Valdosta, Georgia, saying the cavalry has arrived. There was Trump, and I'm talking he brought with him a flotilla of water, food, medical supplies, emergency assistance. He coordinated with private contractors, nonprofit groups, rescue recovery operations, you name it. There was Donald Trump leading the way. Who was meeting with the mayor? Trump. Who was on the phone with the governor? Trump. Who was helping out everybody? Trump. Roll cut 4, Mike.
Homes, hospitals, highways, and cars have been plunged underwater. Entire neighborhoods have been turned into lakes. Nobody's seen anything like it. And to every family that's been displaced here in Georgia and North Carolina, which has really been hit. We were going there also, and they don't have communication. They don't have anything right now.
Now, this is a very key point, all right? You cannot underestimate this point. It cannot be overstated enough. Many of these towns now, everything is washed out. The roads, the bridges, everything. We're looking at 8 feet of water above elevation. 8 feet. It's as I said, it's biblical. It's like Noah's Ark. You've got people clinging for life on rooftops, on the top of hospitals or buildings. There's no internet. There's no cell phone. They can't call. They can't, in other words, they can't even say, look, I'm here and here. I need help. Please rescue me. They have no water. They have no food. They're going to die. Trump says, I got on the phone with Elon. We're going to set up a Starlink. We're going to get Starlink, especially into North Carolina, which is being utterly devastated. He and Elon, together, private citizens, are doing more than the entire weight of the federal government combined. Roll cut 4A, Mike.
I just spoke to Elon. I'm getting him. We want to get Starlink hooked up because they have no communication whatsoever. And Elon will always come through. We know that. And so we're working on that, getting them hooked up. They asked me whether or not that would be possible. And we're going to try and get the Starlink in there as soon as possible because they have no communication.
The contrast in leadership, the contrast in experience, the contrast in management ability, the contrast in skills, the contrast in heart and decency, and saying we're going to get this thing done no matter what, come hell or high water. Pardon the pun. It's night and day. It's night and day. And that's why Kamala Harris now is in deep trouble, and she knows it. I want to play this cut again because this is going to haunt her. It's going to haunt her. Forget this campaign. It's going to haunt her for the rest of her life. Children are homeless. Children are orphaned. They've lost their parents. We're looking now 130 confirmed dead. In Asheville alone, just one city in North Carolina, a mountain city. 600 bodies unaccounted for. We're looking at torrential rains and flooding. Entire neighborhoods, hell, I'm telling you, entire towns, gone. Gone. They're gone. You understand? They're gone. As all of this is taking place, Trump is on the phone. Trump is on Truth Social. Trump is organizing relief. Trump is saying, I'm going to Georgia. I'm going to go to North Carolina. Hang in there. We're going to get you all the assistance we can get you. This is what he did over the weekend. This is what Kamala did. Besides the partying, the clubbing, the fundraising with Hollywood and the big donors in San Francisco, she ended up doing one interview on this podcast I never heard of called All the Smoke. And what are they talking about on that podcast? I swear to you. Roll cut 12. Mike.
One of my guilty pleasures, especially when I'm on the road, are my Doritos.
Oh, what flavor?
Nacho.
Nacho.
Old school, original.
OG.
Come on.
Yeah. OG.
Come on.
Red bag.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
Red bag.
That's exactly. Got to have a napkin nearby.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Come on. Old school. Doritos. Old school. Old school. They're not going to forget this in North Carolina. They're not going to forget this in Georgia. And I hope all of you listening, I don't care where you live. Here it is. Right here. This is all the difference you need to know. She's talking Doritos. Trump is saving lives. Now, one final point. I want to make a clarification. So, she knows it's Monday morning, okay? It's a disaster. It's a political PR disaster. They know it. Everybody knows it. The media is telling her, get your ass there. Everybody is telling her aides, get your ass out of Hollywood now. And stop talking about Doritos and clubbing in her daddy's Cadillac. Okay, that's what she was telling. When I was young, I took my daddy's Cadillac. We went out night clubbing. Mrs. Middle Class. Okay? Let that go. She stages a photo on Air Force Two flying back to Washington. She's trying to pretend, it's all staged, that she's on the phone with FEMA officials and they're briefing her on what's happening in North Carolina and Georgia and Tennessee. And so she has, now I use the term earbud. I don't think that's the right term. It's I guess a headphone, but it's like, an earpiece with a long white cord. So she has a phone on the desk, allegedly on, that's where she's supposed to be getting, the call. And she has these blank white pieces of paper that with a pen. And the pen is on the paper. So the photo op is her, pensive, serious, looking downwards like she's being briefed. But the cord is not plugged into the phone. Now, an earbud technically is wireless, or many earbuds now are wireless. So I know many of you are saying, well, Jeff, hold on. No, it could be an earbud, but it's just wirelessly connected to the phone. No. It's one of these headphones, earbuds, whatever you want to call the term, that has a cord. It's in her ear. It's a white piece with a long white cord coming from her ear. But they're so stupid and so arrogant and so careless, they didn't connect the cord into the phone. So she can't, obviously there's no briefing. She's not talking to anybody. Plus, all the papers are blank. Nothing, not even a letter is scribbled on them. The whole thing is made up. It's, as Trump said on Truth Social, it's all fake. It's all staged. She was so stupid, she was caught red-handed. Now, do you think the people of North Carolina and Georgia, they're going to say, not only are you not here, lady, you're trying to pretend like you're being briefed? And you got caught because you couldn't even put the cord into the phone? Look, you can say whatever you want about Hillary Clinton. You can say whatever you want about Obama, the dear leader. You can say whatever you want about Joey, okay? Demented as he is, cognitive decline as he is. Some handler would be smart enough to say, all of them, no, we're going to stage this, but no, plug the cord into the phone and scribble a few words on the paper. She's that dumb, that inept, that incompetent, that clueless, that heartless. She can't even fake it. The polls are already bad. You watch. You watch. Give it another week. They're going to write off Georgia and they're going to write off North Carolina. And Trump now essentially is one state away from victory. If he sews up Pennsylvania, this thing is over. Good night, Irene. Marilyn in Norwood. Thanks for holding, Marilyn, and welcome.
Morning, Jeff.
Hi, Marilyn.
I have two issues I'd like to call to your attention.
Yes.
I have to say, I know that you're very, very enthusiastic about the President Trump's prospects for winning, but I would still err on the cautious side. My late mother, always said to me that things can change in a moment, in a second. So I sometimes feel you're a little too optimistic, but I understand your perspective. But here's the 2 points that I would like to raise. You know, this storm has primarily devastated southeastern United States, and that is a huge, let us say, President Trump voting bloc. And not so much in Florida because Governor DeSantis is, he's on things. I mean, he's a superb manager in terms of rebuilding following damage. But I'm wondering in these other states, some of whom may not have Republican governors, if there's going to be a slowdown in rebuilding and getting life back to order, and what is going to happen in terms of the overall voting in these states. Are a lot of people going to be disenfranchised because they're not going to have easy access to polls because towns have been washed away, power lines, have gone under. So there's a lot of ramifications to this. And I must say, I am still very suspect that somehow or another, the outcome is going to change, that this election could be tampered with. I recall learning in school, in high school, that the presidential election of 1960 in Chicago, a study had been conducted, I think, around 65 or 66. And at that time, it was unearthed that at least 10,000 dead people had voted alone for President Kennedy in the city of Chicago. So I'm going to hang up now, but I just wanted to share a few of my thoughts. And one last thing, actually, I just popped into my mind. Pennsylvania is very suspect to me because I recall the last time that Pennsylvania allowed ballots to be counted that arrived after the voting day, and that is something nationwide that should not, under any circumstance, be allowed. If anyone is given the opportunity to vote by mail in advance of the election, then all ballots must be in no later than the day before the election or election day. No ballots that arrive after election day should be allowed, because those could be additional double or triple ballots that are being added to the system that are corrupting the integrity of our voting system. Thank you.
Marilyn, thank you very much. Excellent call. You make excellent points. I agree with you. You should not allow votes. I mean, technically in many states, the cutoff is supposed to be 8 p.m. the day of the election. So say, Tuesday, November 5th, as long as it arrives before 8 p.m. Tuesday, you're fine. But at 8:01, if it arrives at 8:01, I'm sorry, no, it's late and it shouldn't be counted. I agree with you. Look, there's no question the Democrats are going to try to steal this. They have to steal it. It's the only way they can win it. Okay? I mean, win it. I put that in air quotes. The only way they can take it is if they steal it. So I'm not underestimating their evil or how pernicious or how Machiavellian or how power hungry they are. So please don't misunderstand me. What I'm just saying is, if you're looking at the polls and you're looking at a free and fair election, then this thing has cost her Georgia and North Carolina. Now, in terms of, are they going to try to prevent those people in those red counties in, say, North Carolina from voting? Yes. As I've said earlier, I think that's exactly why they're trying to be very slow in the rebuilding process. They don't want the roads to be rebuilt. They don't want to see these towns recover. They don't want to see the bridges restored until after the election. What they've underestimated, and this is now what's shocking them, is that there is so much anger at the sheer mismanagement and, frankly, the heartless indifference shown by Harris, Biden, and FEMA, that this is reverberating in the non-Helene affected areas of North Carolina, where people are thoroughly disgusted. And they're saying, I'm voting Trump. Like, this is how you're treating people based on their political views or political allegiances? Well, blank you. I'm voting Trump. And Trump is here. They're not. In other words, Trump is showing us real leadership and real compassion, and they're not. So it's really affected the internal dynamics all across Georgia and all across North Carolina. So even if they try to suppress those affected areas, it has blown up. Whatever they gain by suppressing the vote, they have lost by alienating, and really the word is not angering, it's infuriating the residents all across North Carolina and Georgia. I mean, the people there are pissed. I'm sorry to put it so crudely, but they're pissed. And they have every right to be pissed. And that's why, look, you've got prominent Democrats saying, what is wrong with you? Why is Trump there and you're not? Again, it's East Palestine all over again. So that's why Trump's people now are supremely confident. Now, from after tonight's debate, I think tonight will be, it's going to be the last debate. I don't think you're going to see a Kamala Trump debate. So starting tomorrow, October 2nd, for the next month and couple days until November 5th, everything from this point is going to be now about voter fraud. Trump's people have to have a ground game that, if it doesn't completely eliminate or prevent voter fraud, mitigates it enough so that when we swamp the polls, they just can't keep counting and counting, as they did, for example, as you said, in Pennsylvania. Trump was up, 700,000 votes. You wake up the next morning and suddenly Biden's in the lead. All of a sudden, Philadelphia, out of the blue, delivers Biden 800,000 votes. So that's now what they have to guard and protect against. If they do that, Kamala at this point cannot win. I'm telling you, she just cannot win. And again, I keep going back to Hurricane Katrina. George Bush never recovered after Hurricane Katrina. Politically, he was finished. That's exactly now what's happening to her. People look at her and they're like, no, man, you're not ready. You're not ready to be commander in chief. In fact, we don't even think you care enough to be commander in chief. You're heartless. You're cold. You're indifferent. Frankly, you're insulting. Your priorities are way off. You would rather party with elites in Hollywood than care about ordinary people who are fighting for their very lives. So she has now made the biggest political mistake of her entire campaign. 920 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, liberalism's worst nightmare. 617-266-6868 is the number. Mike in Saugus. Thanks for holding, Mike, and welcome.
Jeff, thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure, Mike.
It was a pleasure to see yesterday Donald Trump go out there with Franklin Graham. If anybody wants to donate to a great organization, Samaritan's Purse, they go around the world anytime there is a disaster. They are doing God's work. Donald Trump, Franklin Graham, they're just unbelievable. And I pray to God that Donald Trump will be our next president. I'm just concerned about the cheating.
Well, Mike, you put your finger right on it. I mean, the cheating that to me is the number one issue right now. I'm not worried anymore about the campaign, messaging, the polls. I'm not worried about any of that. I think Trump is now clearly in the driver's seat on every score. And tonight, I think the debate will be I think that'll be the last debate, but I think, I think J.D. Vance is going to I think he's going to knock out Tim Walz tonight, politically. I think it's going to be a debate knockout. I think he's going to crush him. And then you're going to have about 30 days left. And we're just going to have to do everything we can to get out and vote. Vote by mail, vote early, or like me, if you prefer, vote on Election Day. I always vote on Election Day, but that's me. And then all eyes have to be on the steal. And if we can block them at the pass and prevent them from stealing, Trump will make the greatest comeback in American political history, arguably in world history. It'll be a comeback of historic proportions. So, and he can taste it. I can taste it. Everybody now can taste it. Mike, thank you very much for that call. Ellie in Worcester. Thanks for holding, Ellie, and welcome.
Hey, Jeffy.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm doing very good. How are you, Ellie?
Very good. I love you in a sexual way.
Thank you, Ellie.
You know, I was listening to a local radio station yesterday, and this guy had people call up from the South to let them know what's going on. And it's like everyone who called in from 3 different states said their area is like a bomb was dropped on it. And as of yesterday, no one from these 3 states, and one of them is southwestern Virginia, just like a bomb on it, nothing from FEMA. No one has seen them in all these days. Nobody. So they're calling in. A lot of people had to escape to the mountains. A lot of people are still trapped in their homes. How many days has it been?
Oh, we're looking now at 5 days. You're right, Ellie. I mean, a lot of these areas are flood disaster zones. And they resemble war zones. You know, I think your analogy is dead on. It's like you dropped a bomb. And look, Ellie, southwestern Virginia, that's all red. That's all MAGA. Western North Carolina, Asheville is a college town, so it's a bit of a blue pocket. But that whole county is red. Western North Carolina is all red. Valdosta, forgive me. That's red. That whole area affected in Georgia, that's all MAGA. That's red, that's Republican, that's conservative, that's Trump country. That's why the aid is getting in very slow or not at all. It is pure political discrimination. There's no question. And they want these, they feel, why should we help these people out? They're not our voters. And number two, no, we don't want them to come back. We don't want them to be rebuilt. We don't want them voting, period. So it's an attempt at voter suppression. And the problem is, as I've said, it's now alienated and angered so many people that it's blowing up in the Democrats' face. But, Ellie, I said this yesterday, and I got to repeat it, and I'd love to get your take on this. Trump didn't get a lot of votes in New York City. I mean, upstate New York, yes, he's quite popular. But in New York City, look, it's a blue city. He didn't get a lot of votes. When the mayor and the governor asked for ventilators, he sent them by the hundreds. Masks, a naval ship, a hospital, whatever they needed during the COVID pandemic, he sent. Because he didn't care if you're blue, red, Republican, Democrat, voted for him, voted against him. He's the president of the entire United States. And we're all Americans. Under Harris and Biden, you don't vote for them. You're up a creek without a paddle. What say you, Ellie?
Well, who was the first one in East Palestine with food and water and all? East Palestine has already been forgotten. And it's like back. I always knew the South in those areas as the Bible Belt. It's like, so why should they care, right? they don't care about the Bible Belt.
Well, those are the deplorables, right? That's what they call them, the deplorables. So, that's MAGA, extreme MAGA, ultra MAGA, as Biden would call it. So they don't care. They're turning their back on their own citizens who are fighting for their very lives. Honestly, Ellie, it is beyond disgusting. Disgusting. 9:31 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, just to piggyback off of what Ellie was saying in Worcester. You're not going to hear this reported by anybody in the corporate media because they're trying to cover up for the Biden regime. FEMA truckers. So these are truckers and brokers who put thousands of truckers on notice to be ready with FEMA and when a hurricane hits. Well, now FEMA truckers and brokers are now reporting that FEMA is not posting loads to be delivered to disaster areas devastated by Hurricane Helene. So FEMA truckers, okay, these are the truckers themselves, are saying they're not sending aid to these disaster areas. They're just, the trucks are ready to go. We're fueled up. We want to go. And the trucks are empty. There's no load. They're not sending in relief, or they're trickling it in. So this is coming straight from the truckers. Now, look, we're not talking about, an inconvenience here. Literally 130 people, at least 130 people are dead. There are 600 bodies unaccounted for in Asheville in North Carolina alone. People are fighting for their lives. There's no power. There's no water. There's no food. There's no electricity. There's no cell phone service. There's nothing. Are you kidding me? Now, on top of all of this, okay, so you've got this, which is enough. Then you've got the war in Lebanon. So Israel now has launched a ground invasion. You've got that. But you got to hear this. I talked about it earlier, but just very quick. So at midnight last night, or whatever, today, 12:01 today, the Longshoremen Association, the dock workers from Maine to Texas, so this is the entire East Coast and the Gulf Coast. We're talking now dozens of ports, nearly 50,000 dock workers. They're now on strike. And they're not backing down. They want a massive 77% wage increase over 6 years. They want to make sure that there's no automation that will end their jobs. They have a whole list of demands. Now, whatever you think of the strike, pro, con, whatever, the fact of the matter is, this is now going to cripple the economy. That everybody, businesses are saying it, economists are saying it, the Wall Street Journal, Investors Business Daily, the Financial Times, CNBC, Bloomberg, I can run down the whole list. If this strike lasts longer than a week to 10 days, you're going to start to see shortages in food, in groceries, in fruits, in vegetables, but not just that, shirts, underwear, jeans, apparently heavy machinery, cars, trucks. This is going to affect the entire supply chain along the entire East Coast and into the Midwest. Okay, the West Coast is not affected. The East Coast and the Gulf Coast are the two areas affected by this strike. Now, here's what they're telling you. This is the Wall Street Journal. About a week, they can survive. But after a week, you're going to start to see shortages in stores, whether it be grocery stores, Target, Walmart, whatever it is. And you're going to start to see prices start to go up. Because now you got a shortage of goods, plus they got to fly them in. To even get them here, they got to fly them in. They can't just use shipping containers because there's a strike. Now, this is what's incredible, because if I said it, you wouldn't believe it. As you know, there's a war in Lebanon. And there's not just the war in Lebanon. The Houthis in Yemen are launching missile strikes, both on Israel and on American ships, battleships, Navy ships that we have positioned in that area for fear of a wider war between Israel and Iran. Iran is backing the Houthis, Hamas, and Hezbollah. Long story short, the reason why I mention this, Joey, Dementia Joe, is asked by reporters about the strikes in Yemen. And so they say, what do you make of these strikes in Yemen? I.e. the strikes against Israel, missile strikes, and the strikes against our own ships, our own, Navy ships. You want to see how far gone Joe Biden is? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm giggling because either you laugh or you cry. This is a mind bender. Roll cut 19. Mike.
Any comment on the strikes in Yemen, Mr. President?
Both sides have got to settle the strike. Support the collective bargaining effort. I think they'll settle the strike.
Oh, the audio, I mean, the mics weren't good, so the audio is not good. Here's what he said verbatim. I've spoken to both sides. They got to settle the strike. I'm supporting the collective bargaining effort. He's talking about the dock workers strike, obviously. The Longshoremen Association. Here, I'll play it again, okay? Play it again. You can catch it. So the reporter's question is clear, but his answer, holy, ay. And this guy's in charge of the country? Roll cut 19 again. Play it again, Mike.
Any comment on the strikes in Yemen, Mr. President?
Both sides have got to settle the strike. Support the collective bargaining effort. I think they'll settle the strike.
Oh my God, is this guy gone? I've spoken to both sides. They got to settle the strike. I'm supporting the collective bargaining effort. They got to end the strike. Oh, are we screwed? Oh man, are we screwed? We're so screwed. All right. Now, to show you how screwed we are, because you can't make this up. This is Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo on CNBC. Remember, former governor of Rhode Island. Okay, Moonbat Democrat governor drove Rhode Island into the ground. She's the Commerce Secretary. This affects commerce across much of the United States. Again, you won't believe it if I said it. They ask, well, this longshoreman strike, what is it going to mean to the economy? I mean, you're the Commerce Secretary, for God's sakes. It's a major cabinet position. You're the cabinet member in charge of all this. Listen to her response. Roll cut 6. Oh, Mike.
What would this mean for commerce in this country? What would this mean for businesses if we go into this strike? And what do you know about it?
Yeah, good morning. So as you said, I'm here in my personal capacity. I would say, look, it's not a secret that this would be, depending on how long it lasts, could be incredibly disruptive to commerce. As you well know, that so much commerce moves through the ports. And if it goes a few days, I'm sure companies probably have their plans set. But especially we're in peak season, getting ready for the Christmas season. If a strike were to drag on, I think it could be really very, very disruptive to commerce.
You think. So think of this. She's the Commerce Secretary. And I'm here in my personal capacity. What do you mean you're in your personal capacity? You're the Commerce Secretary. So, if it goes on for a couple days, I think we're good. But if this goes any longer, this could be really very, very, very disruptive. Yeah, very bad. So what are you doing about it? Here it is. I'm telling you, you would say, Jeff, you're making it up. No way could somebody be this reckless, this stupid, this disengaged. Jeff, no, it's impossible. Okay, here it is. She's asked, are you focused on getting, on resolving the strike? Listen now to her response. Put down your coffee. You're going to spit it out. Roll cut 6A. Mike.
Where are the issues most prominent? Where have you been kind of focused and hearing on what would happen if the strike goes, let's say, longer than a week?
Again, I have not been very focused on that. I would refer you to the White House or the Transportation Secretary.
It's like a Hollywood comedy. I'm telling you. You're not focused on the biggest strike in the country that affects commerce and supply chains? I refer you to the White House. And you know who the Transportation Secretary is, right? Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg. So she's telling us, no, listen, I may be the Commerce Secretary, but I don't do commerce. No, that's not my portfolio. I don't do commerce. No, talk to Joey, who, when you ask about the strikes in Yemen, thinks you're talking about the longshoreman strike, or go to Mayor Pete, that useless, that useless loser. No, Mayor Pete or Biden. May God help us. The Commerce Secretary is not focused on a major strike that affects commerce all across the country. She says, talk to Buttigieg. Buttigieg says, talk to Biden. Biden says, it's Yemen. Then he says, talk to Gina. You can't make this up. 9:50 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. I think this strike is going to last more than a week. That's just my personal. If Gina Raimondo says she's not focused and Buttigieg is not focused and Biden is, he's Biden. He's out to lunch. No, I think this is going to go for more than a week. That's I'm going to go out on a limb here. All right, Mike, who do you want me to go to next? Chris in Missouri. Thanks for holding, Chris, and welcome.
Jeff, I hate thinking this way. I hope Trump wins, but didn't the Soviets cut off areas under communism, cut off certain sections, and people starved to death and were in big trouble?
Yes.
I hate thinking this way, Jeff. I really do. But what if they win? What will they not do if they win?
Well, I mean, look, Chris, I mean, I don't want to play the cut because we're up against it. I'm going to save it for sometime this week. John Kerry, Jean-Francois, Pepe Le Pew literally came out and said they're going to have to get rid of the First Amendment. That if they win, the only way to hammer dissent and hammer the First Amendment, in other words, end dissent to the regime, is to get rid of the First Amendment. So, I mean, they're openly saying they want to tear up the Constitution and tear up the First Amendment and freedom of speech. So that's, I mean, they're really telegraphing now what their intentions are. And that's why, look, Chris, my fingers are crossed. I pray every night. But now you've got this strike. You've got massive, colossal incompetence with this strike happening. That comment from Gina Raimondo, to me, that how she's not fired on the spot is beyond me. So, look, people are going to say, we don't want 4 more years of this. By the way, Chris, you can't make this up, okay? It's breaking right now. Senior White House officials are now admitting that it looks like Iran is going to launch a massive missile strike barrage against Israel because Israel has now launched a ground invasion against Lebanon. So the Middle East is about to blow. I mean, Iran now is talking about launching massive missile strikes into Israel. Now, they do have their Iron Dome. Hopefully, they're going to shoot most of them down. But, I mean, all hell is breaking loose around the Middle East. So you've got Hurricane Helene. You've got this massive dock workers strike, which is going to cripple and batter our economy. And you've got a major war now erupting in the Middle East, all within 5 weeks of the election. The American people have to ask themselves, do we want more of this, or do we want peace and prosperity under Trump? So, Chris, I'm hoping, praying that this is the hand of God. They cannot win in November. I mean, they just can't. They can't. Chris, final word to you.
I'm losing sleep like you, Jeff. I'm losing sleep like you.
5 more weeks, Chris. 5 more weeks, and hopefully we'll prevail, God willing. Chris, thank you very much for that call. Rachel in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Rachel, and welcome.
Jeff, you either have to laugh or cry. There's nothing in between.
It's true.
I'm originally from Western North Carolina. My entire family is there, and the reason they're only focusing on Asheville is because it is the blue pocket. It's the liberal pocket. They're not focusing on any other mountainous regions such as Banner Elk or Wilkes County or Elkin or all the other towns that are 2 hours east of Asheville. And those towns, Jeff, I have photos from my family back home. I'm going to email them to you. There are roads washed away that are, like you're talking about people that are 20 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour from grocery stores. They live off the land. They have cattle. They have chicken. That's how they survive. So I just don't think people are really understanding just exactly what conditions these folks are in. I mean, my mom took supplies into town the other day, and there's a herd of people driving up on ATVs 3 and 4 hours to get people supplies because there is no help. But what can we expect? I mean, there is no administration. There is no president. There is no vice president. She's too busy talking about Doritos and partying in her dad's car to even have a concept of what's going on in our states, let alone the entire world. We are on our own for the next 5 weeks. And I just hope that people understand what's really going on in North Carolina. It's not just a little bit of a flood. I mean, they're missing family members. Nobody's even talked about Boone, where Appalachian State University is, and their cars and dorms and parts of campus and Walmart is underwater. I can't believe it. I was listening to ABC News because I had a brain lapse morning, and they had a reporter down in North Carolina saying that they were driving around and people were chasing their car because they need water. Yeah, because a lot of people are on well water there, and their wells are decimated. You cannot buy this administration a clue.
Rachel, it's heartbreaking. It really is. It's absolutely heartbreaking. Rachel, though, I've got to say this as an aside, and I really don't mean to make light. My heart really breaks for the people of the whole area, but, Western North Carolina in particular, as you're talking. I love your accent. The accent, North South Carolina accent, I think is the most beautiful accent, the most charming accent in all of North America. But do me a favor, Rachel. Please call again. You can say whatever you want. Just talk. I could listen to that accent all day. Rachel, thank you for that call. Bye-bye.